Albanians, following the fall of communism, are the nationality in question. Neither ethnicity, nor social class, nor employment was a question in a population's strive to gain a decent standard of living for themselves and their families. The main motives of those migrating were to escape the grasp of communism in Albania. Policies in the country in the years running up to 1991 were such that average pay was $5 per week, and movement in and out of the country was strictly controlled. The belief of a better standard of living and better paid work, combined with the horrific conditions the Albanians had to live in, led to one of the largest migrations in the world. Between 1991, the collapse of the totalitarian regime, and 2001, 800,000 people have migrated from Albania, with 440,000 settling in Greece, 350,000 in Italy, and others in multiple countries within Europe. 1 in 5 of the population is living abroad. Social consequences included the splitting of families, as husbands and older siblings travelled to other countries to get better pay. Families left behind in Albania were vulnerable to organised crime as a result of a bumpy transition from communism to democracy. .46% of Albanians live below the poverty line of $2 per capita a day, while 17.4% are below the extreme poverty line of $1 per capita a day. 28.1% of Albanians are unemployed. Albania's Human Development Index, HDI, also dropped as a result of migration. Its HDI of 0.764 placed it 70th out of 173 countries in the UN's listings of human development, the lowest of European countries. This is in part due to the brain drain, as intelligent academics and teachers emigrated, leaving poor education standards, fewer graduates, limited success in service sector jobs, and therefore a slowed economy. Economic consequences upon the country include a poor infrastructure, and many people living in poverty, unable to purchase weekly amenities such as food and water. The poor infrastructure is due to the migration of skilled workers and academics to other countries. The loss of skilled workers meant that it was incredibly difficult for new buildings to be constructed, and the country would have to wait until another generation before families of skilled workers could be found to improve infrastructure. People live in severe poverty, with those living in rural areas particularly affected and having to live in settlements which resemble shanty towns. Political consequences are few and far between. The bumpy road from communism to democracy has seen multiple governments whose main aims have been to persuade the key workers who immigrated originally to return. These include incentives, such as a better pay, and has worked in getting more skilled workers to return and help build the infrastructure of Albania. Demographic consequences have been very significant. In 1950, the population was 1,215,000, with a fertility rate of 38.9 per 1,000 and death rate at 14.2 per 1,000. At the start of immigration in 1991, the population did drop from 3,260,000 to 3,190,000. However, since then, death rate has dropped to 4.8 per 1,000, and fertility rate has dropped to 14.7 per 1,000, leaving the population in 2000 at 3,400,000. 401,000. This indicates that, although the population did decrease, in 1991, as a result of immigration, the 800,000 people who did migrate have clearly done so over a period of 10 years, as there is no significant drop in population. The pyramid structure therefore seems to be that of stage 3, as birth and death rates are dropping. There is an overwhelming number of migrant workers in Greece, made up of legal and illegal Albanians. They provide cheap labour for the host country and a group of people who are happy to work in the less desirable jobs, such as olive pickers. It is thought that about 25% of the inhabitants in Greece are migrants, mostly coming from Albania. Other host countries like Italy and Turkey see bleaker forms of migrant workers, who add to crime in the country and often appear with no money and take advantage of streets and marketplaces, using them as temporary homes. Albanian migrants constitute a huge portion of the Greek labour force and major contributors to the growing Greek economy. Albanian migrants are only able to receive a daily income that barely meets subsistence levels. Working construction, on average, gives an Albanian migrant 4,000 to 5,000 drachmas per day. This is compared to the normal 7,000 to 10,000 drachmas paid to Greeks for the same work. Work in agriculture gives migrants a mere 1,000 to 2,000 drachmas daily. Host governments often have very strong views on migrants. The Greek government revealing the Greek economy needs fewer than half of the immigrant workers. The Italian government declared a state of emergency over Albanian refugees in 1991 after 10,600 refugees had crossed the Adriatic Sea to Italy. These were horrible times for Albania, who were suffering from NATO bombings, killing hundreds of people with one bomb. Flocks of Albanian migrants had nowhere safe to go. The Greek government passed a new law in 1997 to try and counter the phenomenon. The law was to restrict immigration and set working permit conditions. They also have set up stricter rules on illegal migrant working and set up social groups, including the power of the Orthodox Church, to try and decrease the numbers of homeless migrants. Italy is currently going into the theoretical stage 5 of the demographic transition model, with high life expectancy and low birth rates. However, these birth rates are being altered by migrants, and in the 1900s, when the migration was seen to be out of control, Italy was only just in stage 4, as a high intake of young males led to a big rise in birth rates. Greece suffered the same problem, but still only remains at stage 4 of the model. Look at the natural disasters surrounding Japan, and look at the political disaster surrounding Libya. Disasters such as these can lead to mass migration, and this can have big impacts on host countries, who generally can't cope with the overwhelming increases in population. They need your help. Please, donate just £5 to CNN's Impact Your World, and make the whole world a better place for all.